Hey guys, I don't know if you can hear me or if you can make comments. Sorry, we lost Dan, so I'm just trying to get this back up and running. Okay, so looks like we're ready to begin. Sorry for the delay, everyone. On my side, it's showing that the feature is disabled for comments. So if you have questions or comments, please leave them on the Facebook events and I will check there for replies. So tonight we are going to talk about the single project entry process, or SPEs. We will get started. So what is an SPE and why should you submit an SPE? The single project entry, it creates a number of different things for your chapter. It creates chapter pride in your project. It really makes your chair people feel proud of what they did and what they accomplished with that project. You also can receive recognition for it. These are things that you enter for trimester competition or trimester awards. You may have the opportunity to win an award at conference and go on to year-end competitions. And if you win at year-end competitions, we also move that chapter project onto nationals. So that is also something that you may be able to get recognition at nationals. This is another way for your chapter to have record keeping besides just a PMG or SPG, CPG. This is a way for your historical documents to be kept. It also creates skills. For a chairperson, this gives them the opportunity to practice their writing skills along with their public speaking and presentation skills. So what categories do we have? There are 5 categories that you can submit a single project entry in: breakout, sustaining, SDGs, active citizen, and community leader. So I'm going to go into a little more detail about this. Breakout is going to be your first and second year projects, so your brand new projects that you're just getting up and running. Sustaining, 3+ years running. Sustainable development goals. These are projects that illustrate a sustainable solution in your community. I will talk a little bit more in detail on the next slide regarding those. Active citizen, outcomes pertaining to individuals. And community leader, so community collaboration. Examples of active citizen would be Redford's Pay It Forward that impacts an individual. Big Rapids recently just did an icebreakers, warm-ups, and energizers. That was a motivating project that taught individuals new skills on how to interact with others. Or you have things like Boy Scouts or youth programs for education that impacts the individual. Community leader category would be things like community forums. A lot of chapters are trying to do those where they bring in multiple different organizations and talk about the needs of their community and what they could each do to help each other out. We also have like Burton Clean Water Initiatives. Ludington Lake Jump, they recently did that. That's a community event that they put together to, get improvements for their community putt-putt. One thing to point out is even if by chance you are the only one to enter into a specific category, this does not mean an automatic win at conference. The presentation and written portion still must provide excellent information that is clear and concisely presented. So the SDGs, or Sustainable Development Goals, that you'll hear about quite often, these are 17 different goals that the United Nations have come up with and the JCs work with on, and they wanted to see chapters creating those new things that are going to create sustainable activities for the future. One thing to point out is I have 2 links at the top there, sustainabledevelopment.un.org/SDGs. This gives you a lot more idea of what the UN's vision was for these goals. It gives you the opportunity to learn about what type of projects you might be able to implement in their community directly related to the goals. Some of these sustainable development has been defined as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs. Things like this would be the Clean Water Acts, like we talked about, recycling programs, affordable energy. Things we've seen in our communities happen is where they would go out into an underprivileged community and give them light bulbs that would help with their energy cost. So these different categories are what you're going to choose for your SPE or single project entry. It's highly encouraged that you really think as to what category yours would fall under. We get a lot of submissions in the breakout and sustaining one because those are the easiest ones to just automatically fit into. But really think and challenge yourself to see how your project could improve by fitting it into one of the other categories. So how do you submit for an SPE? Round 1 is a written form, and it has a 70-point value. There are 3 sections on it, which we'll go over. Results have the involvement and investment, project descriptions, short response questions, and you can find the submission form on the michiganjcs.org website under Document Library 2016. So here's the first page of the SPE form. This form, basically at the top, is pretty simple. Name, chair, chapter, what category you're going to put it in. One thing I didn't include on the PowerPoint, but is in the form, on page 3, it breaks it down on the results in the involvement and the investment section as to what needs to go in each box. So for like the investment section, you've got your appropriated, which is the funds appropriated from the chapter, donated, the dollar value of items donated to the project, sponsored, cash donations from businesses and individuals towards the project, raised, funds collected during the project, what you spent, and then your net profit or loss. So that means funds returned to the chapter, raised for donation, or lost. This is found by subtracting the amount needed to run the project and the funds returned to the chapter after the initial appropriation from the gross profit of the project. So basically, after all is said and done, what do you have the ability to either donate or put back into your general fund? It's then going to fall into the basic questions of what's the objective, what's the description, how did you plan this project, what public relations did you use to promote the project, and then one question carries over to the next page, and that is the goals and results. So what were your initial goals and what were the final results? So was it to obtain 100 participants and you got 125? How did you get there? So elaborate a little bit. Don't just say, yes, we hit this, no, we didn't hit this. We want to see a little bit more of what your thoughts were on why you hit that goal or why you didn't hit that goal. And then you're going to go into the short response section. You've got your 3 main questions that you must answer, questions 1, 2, and 3. And then the second section is going to be the question that relates directly to your category. So that bottom half, you must just pick, so if you had chosen community leader, delete sustaining, breakout, active citizen, SDGs, and only answer that community leader question. So how is round 1 judged? These are this is in the manual as well on the recognition information if you have questions or want to take a look at it. This is a good tool for while you're actually writing your written portion to look at how we're going to judge it, how we're going to be viewing this information. So some of them are pretty simple, straightforward, you know, spelling and grammar, project participation, and then we're going to look at the questions. And basically, everyone starts off at a 5. That's where you start off with your questions. And then basically, if you answered it well or greatly, you're going to go up to a 3 is the middle for the 5-point questions, and 5 is the middle for the 10-point questions. So you're going to go either up or down. Basically, if you have the scores adjusted up or down based on the submission. So if the submission followed the guidelines but had numerous spelling and grammatical errors, we may move it from a 3 to a 2, and so forth. The second part of the SPE is the interview portion. This has a 55-point value. The format is a 5-minute presentation by the chairperson, a 5-minute question and answer with the judges, 5 minutes of feedback, and it complements the written portion of your submission. There are 4 judges that will be in this for the presentation. We want you to make it fun. It doesn't have to be a PowerPoint, but make it interesting and make sure you're holding your audience attention. And some of that will also go into the judging. This right here, which is also on the recognition manual and the appendix, this is how we're going to judge. Basically, it makes it very objective, so you clearly know what we are looking for and how we're going to be looking at it. There is a time limit of 5 minutes, so if you're over 5 minutes or more, you're only going to get a 1. If you're on time, you'll get a 2. The presenter we really want to encourage the chairperson to be presenting these projects. So points are deducted if the presenter is not Can you hear me? Sorry, I'm being told that I can't be heard, so 1 second. Okay, when I go to YouTube, I'm still being heard, so I'm going to keep on going. Okay, where did I leave off? Okay, so the round 2 judging is to be objective. We are going to look at the following criteria: presenter skills, organization, so it's going to be presentation skills. Are you making eye contact with the judges? Are you engaging them? The organization. Is your material laid out well? Does it flow between topic to topic on the project? Clarity. Do we understand what the goals were, the objectives? How were they articulated? The impact of the project was and your presentation. Did we feel that you were enthusiastic of it? Did you have stories? Did you have visuals? Assessment, presentation included a critical assessment. So basically, were you like, this project went great, we'd like to do it again? Or were you like, we really think this project went great, but we would do X, Y, and Z to improve upon it next time? Did it complement the written submission? This is a big thing. We don't want you just to repeat the submission from one time to the next. We want you to actually introduce new facts, new light to the project, and really be enthusiastic about it. Substantiation. Did you bring some type of substantiation to show the project aspects? Was it just pictures, or did you give testimonial from those who may have actually attended it? So after all is said and done, the whole point of the interviews and the written portion is to give the member opportunities to improve upon their speaking and written skills. So within 2 weeks after awards, so after a conference, we will give qualitative feedback focusing on why and how a person can improve, and tips on how to improve. And the reason I say 2 weeks after conference is because of the timing of some of the interviews. It may be a longer delay in between the interview and the actual awards, so we want you to be aware of the fact that it's after conference you will get your feedback. So how does the submission and interview time frame work? First trimester ends next Friday, April 22nd. Submissions are due April 29th at 8 p.m. No late submissions will be accepted. Interviews for trimester 1 submissions will be held at Mackinac Island Friday, May 13th from 4 to 6 p.m. So what'll happen is once the chapters have submitted their SPEs on the due date of April 29th, the next day the chairpersons will be contacted to ask what time the slot they would like between 4 and 6 p.m. on Friday, May 13th. Trimester 2, that trimester ends August 26th. Submissions are due September 2nd at 8 p.m. again. Interviews held are to be determined. We don't know how with nationals that will work, but I would say it's going to be around the same time nationals are held. Third trimester and year end are held a little bit differently. The trimester ends December 31st. Submissions are due January 6th at 8 p.m. and interviews will be held in Lansing on a Saturday, January 21st. These will be usually held in the morning, and then conference is obviously usually not until end of February. All of the information I've gone over with the SPEs is in the recognition manual, again, on the michiganjcs.org document library under 2016. You can find the SPE specific requirements on pages 9 through 10 and 11. The appendix E, F, and G will have copies of the SPE written form, and then copies of the submission, the judging form for round 1 and 2. Utilize those judging forms to really complement your written portion and your presentation, so what you're looking to prepare for. So, like I said, for whatever reason it's saying this feature is disabled on the questions. If you have questions, please go visit the Facebook page. I will stay on for a couple of minutes to the Facebook page if you have questions. I'm hoping that this recorded. If it did not, I will re-record it when Dan is available, and I will get that definitely posted if this did not work. Okay, at this time, I'm not seeing any questions. Like I said, what I'll do is I'm hoping that this recorded okay. If not, I will re-record the presentation and we will get that posted for public information. All of these webinars will be available on YouTube under Michigan JCs. So please stop out there and feel free to shoot me any questions. It is epoltoric, I think. epoltoric@mijcs.org if you have any questions. When it comes to the next week or 2 weeks of submissions, please shoot me emails if you have questions on the submissions. Regarding that, things do get missed on Facebook a lot, so either personally message me on Facebook or actually email the programming team. Thank you, and everyone have a good night.